Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Monday, August 1st, 2022, and we welcome you to the August meeting of the Milford Board of Aldermen. Please join me as we salute our flag. Madam Secretary, will you please take the roll?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. It's very nice to see you. Alderman Archiola?
Present.
Alderman Beatty?
Present.
Alderman Burdesser? Burdesser?
Alderman Brozier wants to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderman Casey?
Here.
Alderman Gurman?
Here.
Alderman Gennatasio?
Here.
Alderman Harla? Alderman Marlowe?
Here.
Alderman Moffett?
Here.
Alderman Mulreen?
Here.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Alderman Pacelli?
Alderman Pacelli would like to be excused, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alderman Parente?
Here.
Alderman Vitro? Alderman Vitale? Alderman Willis?
Here.
13 present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. The next portion of the meeting is devoted to public comment. Statements are strictly limited to the legislative functions of the Board of Aldermen. Please use every effort to limit public speaking to the permissible business of the Board of Aldermen. The time limited granted to each speaker shall be 3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, and electors may address the board at this time. The board encourages speakers not to express derogatory, insensitive, or offensive statements or to engage in personal attacks against individuals. In order to allow everyone an opportunity to speak, I'd ask that everyone please limit their comments for 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to address the board can do so at this time. Please state your name and address for the secretary and for the record. Thank you.
Jeannie Cavallero, 109 Siemens Lane, Unit 25. Well, I came prepared to give you some single-family dwelling prices, and I just found out that one of the figures I was using was inaccurate. So I quickly just calculated it again, and it's quite startling now. It was very nice the way I had it. Using 17,000 single-family dwelling pickups, and I just got that information from the mayor, and we think that number is fairly accurate. It winds up that right now the city is paying $5.25 to pick up the weekly garbage at single-family dwellings. And that's quite significantly different than the rebate in the ordinance. We're talking equity. We're not talking a senior citizen versus non-senior citizen. We're just talking equity. So I really do hope that the ordinance committee will reconvene and look at that ordinance and modify it in some way, shape, or form so that this doesn't happen again. Or you'll see me every month again. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board?
Good evening, board. Nice to see you all, mayor and assorted people. My name is Alex Yarowski, 223 Broadway, Milford, Connecticut. Just want to pass along some thoughts to all of you based on the May 17th, 2022 article of Patch with the board approving the city budget. Unfortunately, we live in a very unique world where anything could happen at any time. Last Labor Day weekend, I finished my job, I went home, I went to bed, I left some stuff in my car. The next morning, one of my doors was ajar and my stuff was gone. I had a trusty blue bag in there. I was very upset. It had all my flash drives and other personal information. I was very upset that day. I filed a police report with the Milford Police Department. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to get my stuff back. I was very upset, obviously, but somehow I received a phone call on October 7th, about a month later, that my bag had been recovered by Milford PD, and everything was luckily still in it. Moral of the story, crime can happen anytime and anywhere to anybody. Milford's a growing city. We can witness the explosion of residential development here. The site of the old Kmart was just approved for, if my math is correct, 180 units by P&Z. More people in this city indicates a greater and not a lesser need for improved public safety. Given the continued fiscal stability of the city and pot of unused resources still available under the American Rescue Plan, I strongly encourage the board to fully fund the 4 police officer positions requested by the Milford Police Department back into the city budget as soon as possible. They're a major resource for the city. They do a phenomenal job. They helped me out when I didn't expect it. I was just at the gas station this morning. There was an incident, and there were 3 officers attending to it as quick as possible. They do a fantastic job, and they should be acknowledged and rewarded. Thank you for your time, and have a great evening.
Anyone else wishing to address the board? Seeing none, we'll go on to the agenda. Alderman Harla, agenda item number 3, consideration of minutes of the regular meeting.
Agenda item number 3, consideration of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen held on July 11th, 2022.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. There was no special meeting. Under Chairman's report, I have a little note here from Food to Kids. Dear Mr. Vitro and members of the Milford Board of Aldermen, Hillary Clinton once said, "It takes a village." Actually, it takes a small city with a big heart. Your generosity allocating $2,500 a year to our Food and Kids program goes a long way to helping us remain substantial, as we work together to put an end to food insecurity among Milford's school children. We are ever grateful to all of you for your continuing support. Sincerely, Michelle Steinroth and Reverend Ashley Grant. Just wanted to read that for you. We had a fantastic weekend. I just wanted to mention the good job. The lobster bake went over very well, and Woodmont Day, which some of you attended, was also, the weather was great, and the times was great as well. Milford's got a lot of stuff going on. And that's all I have for my report. Moving on to agenda item number 6, Mayor's report. Mr. Mayor, you have a report for us.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Great big exciting news for the city of Milford. Milford softball is going to the World Series. I think it's the first time a Connecticut team has gone to the World Series in several decades, but this year we have the majors and the juniors softball team. 2 Milford softball teams going to the World Series. The juniors are playing in Washington State. And the majors 12U team will be heading down to the World Series in North Carolina. So stay tuned, watch ESPN, and cheer on, root on our Milford teams who bring great pride to this community. It's unbelievable. To have 2 teams, to have any team go to the Little League World Series, but to have 2 in a single year is remarkable. And other than that, Mr. Chairman, I do respectfully request your consideration and action on just the one agenda item. We have some appointments to the pension board. I'd also like to make the board aware that we are moving forward with a construction committee for the Founders Walk Phase 2 As you remember, a few years ago, we got a grant to do Founders Walk Phase 1. As part of that, the committee at the time was able to enlist the Connecticut State Realtors Association into a $20,000 grant for a conceptual design of a second phase of this project that will make safer the area behind the library. I know that we talked about this a few months ago when this board considered the acceptance of the state grant, but now that we have that state grant, we are moving forward with a construction committee to provide the oversight and keep this project on task, similar to last month's announcement of the building committee for Tudor Road, the old St. Gabe's property. And on this committee will be James Maroney, Connie Gaynor, and Rich Jago. I think they'll all do a great job. Again, if you have any questions as the meeting progresses, just that one agenda item, feel free to ask.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving on to agenda item number 7. There is no unfinished business. Moving on to agenda number 8. Moving on to new business. Alderman Harla, agenda item number 8A.
Agenda item number 8A, Board of Aldermen approval is hereby requested for the appointment of Robert Williams, 85 Viscount Drive, Unit 13C, Milford, Connecticut, as a regular member of the Pension and Retirement Board, term expiring December 31st, 2024, and Jeremy Gordon, 70 South Woodland Drive, as an alternate member of the Pension and Retirement Board, term expiring December 31st, 2024, to fill present vacancies.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. At this time, will our newly confirmed pension board members step forward and raise their hand to be sworn in by our city clerk? Congratulations, gentlemen. Next item on our agenda number 9, there is no new business. Agenda item number 10, moving on to budget memo transfers. Alderman Harla, agenda item number 10.
Budget memo transfers. Budget memo transfers number 11 and number 12, funds number 1005 and 2812.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes,
Yes, Alderman Parente.
thank you. Through you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone. I'm wondering if either the mayor or a director of finance could give us an overview of these transfers and kind of how they fit in within the context of our financial picture for the city.
Mr. Chairman, through you to Alderman Parente, I will start off, and if there's any gaps to fill, I'm happy to defer to our finance director. But these are the end of the year budget memo transfers that we do each year. They're the most significant budget memo transfers just because they reconcile the account for year end prior to going into the next fiscal year. And a lot of these, as you can see, are attributable to fire. Fire, as you know, the fire chief reported a couple of different occasions, including during the budget discussions, that they utilized a lot of overtime to cover some of the vacancies. There were folks that were out on workers' comp. There were folks that were out, and there were folks that are in or positions that were in the process of being hired and going through the academy. And in order to fill those vacancies and fulfill the minimum manpower requirements that they had, they did have to shift some of their money from the regular wages over to overtime and some of those other wage accounts. And in addition to that, there were some other overages that we had in terms of waste removal, things of that nature. The good news is that every year we do finish off the fiscal year with a surplus. The surplus is usually between $5 and $10 million. We have not made our final reconciliations for this year, but the Finance Department is working diligently to find out exactly what the end of the year balance will be. But again, like years past, it should be a significant surplus. Peter can probably give you an estimate right now as he does the math and make sure that all of the I's are dotted and T's are crossed as we close our books for fiscal year 21-22 and move forward into fiscal year 22-23. Peter, anything else to add?
Through you, just an additional question. Can perhaps you or the finance director explain to us, just with the COVID funds that came in, I don't know that any of us have a lot of facility around that. Can you walk us through the way in which that would kind of intersect with this?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to Alderman Parenti, the COVID relief funds would actually not directly intersect with the general fund. Those are held in a separate fund and are managed separately from the city's operating budget.
Any more discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Are there any reports from any of the standing committees? I don't see any. Agenda item number 13, are there any reports from any of our special committees?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman? Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could you go back to number 11? You missed refunds. You skipped over refunds. 11.
Alderman Harlow, agenda item number 11A.
Agenda item number 11A, refunds list. The consideration of refunds in the amount of $7,761.61.
Second.
Second, did he second?
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously. We'll jump over 12 because we just had it. We're going to 13. Any reports of any special committees? Alderman Marlowe.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Through you, I know it's not listed here, but I just wanted to give a report on the Tudor Road property. We did have a meeting, as we know, last month. A committee was appointed, a building committee, to oversee the project there, the renovations to the old St. Gabriel's School. We did meet last week. Our first meeting, the mayor was in attendance along with Chris Saley, Public Works Director, and the architect, Bill Silver. We basically toured the property inside and out, and Megan Altamir from Boys and Girls Club, went through some of what she would like, and we're going to have to balance that, obviously, with what we can do. There's certain things that will have to be done to the building as far as ADA compliance to make it ADA compliant. Over the gym needs a new roof. We're looking at windows and other things. So where we stand right now is that Silver Petroselli is going to put together a proposal for a scope of work, and when he gets that to us, we'll meet again and discuss that. So I just wanted to give you an update, the board, on where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Marlowe. Is there any other reports of any special committees? Seeing none, we'll open under the last item. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion has been made to adjourn and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Don't sound so enthusiastic. Wow. Good night, everyone. Thank you.